Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I am continuing to play around with the settings of the recording software that I'm using, which, for those of you who are curious, I just started using OBS again. I've figured out a good number of things about it just from experimentation and looking up a few online tutorials. Now, one thing I would like to do is to be able to just turn up the volume of my recording. I'm just not sure how to do that yet. So if you guys have some suggestions, let me know. But for right now, we are going to be continuing the Dash Arcana Spotlight Series. And we're doing piano solos today, so that's fun. Alright, so we just did Magma Rush, which if you couldn't tell by the way I was talking about it, I really like Magma Rush. Today, we're going to be looking at Flare Rush. Also notice that all of these are named Rush of some sort. Flare Rush just launches fireballs in an arc behind you when you dash. And that does a number of things. It creates a sort of, it creates a sort of chaser effect where you have something that's that comes out from behind you, but then goes out in front of you in order to catch your enemies. Now, the obvious uses for this are, one, to try to catch enemies coming up from behind you, but because it arcs off not just directly behind you, but off to either side, it also acts as coverage and can just be straight an offense. Hold on. I've gone on record before as saying that I really like Flare Rush. And I don't think a lot is changing this time around. It's one of those Arcana that I have that I have quite a bit of positivity for, and hopefully you can understand why. As far as the run today, we're gonna be going with kind of a ranged critical hit build. Flare Rush doesn't do a ton of damage all by itself, so it can definitely use a little bit of a boost from critical hit setups. So it's just a matter of what do I want to use as my... There we go. I think today we're going with a kind of fire and water sort of build. And actually, if we're doing that... Hold on, maybe I don't want to go with Dragon Surge. Maybe I want to go Tracer Barrage. And then we'll do something water-based here. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. Alright, I want to keep it somewhat mid-range. I think the best way to do that... See, I'm considering Aqua Breaker, but there's so many things here that I like using. Cascading Blitz actually allows us to create a shield. Then for our... Yeah, no, we go with Aqua Arc again. So hopefully you're seeing the effect there, and it's making sense. Alright, here we go. Mid-range critical hits. And I think we're set. Now, of course, we go with the usual cursed relic start. And this time, let's not forget to grab our starting money. Oh, there it is. Alright. Oh, sorry, Jade. And I think this time we're just gonna let the cards fall where they may. Hey, see, we don't even get Atlas this time. As you can see, the slight delay in its backward arc allows me to do things like retreat from enemies to catch them with the fireballs, while still being able to use it aggressively. Alright, anything good here? Yes, the upgrade to Cascading Blitz. That's big. I'm also seeing Ice Spear, which admittedly won't be great against the twins, but it's more control, and I can always dig some more control. And with a build like this, positioning is important. So if you need to take the time to like stop and reposition yourself, that is probably going to be more important than just going full on aggression. We are getting all sorts of fun stuff. First of all, let's take that. I still want to make sure that we have enough money to afford the Cascading Blitz upgrade. See what I mean by the combination of its arc and its kind of delay creating all sorts of interesting setups? Why am I thinking that I have that mapped to my left shoulder? What the hell? You know, left bumper on an Xbox controller, L1 on a PlayStation controller, and just plain L on a Switch controller. Now, one of the issues with this Arcana arises from the idea that, once again, you don't get an absolute ton of uses to go along with Flare Rush. You just get the one use, and after that, that's it. You have to wait for the cooldown. So that part's a little sad. I don't think I want Inferno Cannon, and upon reconsideration, I don't think I'm going to grab Ice Spear. I'm going to grab that. Now, to be fair, Bouncing Bubble is less useful on... when you have the retro floor plan running, because the bounces get used up on the greater number of enemies faster. But it's still a good ranged control option, and I will be abusing it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything here I really want. To be fair, the combination of Strongman's Hammer and Cruel Chest Clock is a great combination. Reason why I'm thinking about turning this down is because the greater cooldowns could create trouble, especially since this run isn't exactly super high damage. So you really need your spells to not be on cooldown as much as possible. There we go, we'll abuse the crap out of that shield. So, as you can see, just by how I'm using it kind of passively, Flare Rush gets a lot done because of its odd trajectory. And because the fireballs swing out as far as they do, sometimes just dodging to get out of the way of danger leads to setting up a combo. And I love how that works out. Alright, we'll grab this. If nothing else, we can sell it later. I mean, about the best thing here is Agni's Sprinkler, just to intensify the burn effect on Flare Rush. Might as well grab it. It's not gonna hurt anything to have. Obviously, with the stone golems, you wait out their punch and then come in with your own attacks. Now, for full transparency, when working with the retro floor plan, that actually kind of hurts Flare Rush's viability, just again, because there's just more enemies. Fireballs don't have piercing effects. But it's even with that going on that I still say that it's useful. It means that the devs must have done something right with this particular one. Like, it's very obvious that with both Flare Rush and Magma Rush, I really like using them. Flaws and all, I think they're really good. Oh, and there's the Flare Rush upgrade. How beautiful. Anything else here I want? Not really. I already grabbed some. Yeah, I think that's it. You see how the delayed effect of Flare Rush actually created a combo there? Part of the reason why I like this so much is because even whether you know what you're doing or not, you can just use it passively and just get work done. The obvious problem there is that because it has a slightly longer cooldown time than... I like it, but... yeah, whatever, I'll just grab it. Because of its slightly longer cooldown time than some dashes, just the dashing around that you have to do to avoid boss attacks can lead to it not always being able to be used in your combos against bosses. I mean, it's more of a minor point, but it's definitely something that you should look into if you're going to use it, because it can sometimes create issues. So do you take cooldown reduction specifically for... ooh, lovely. So do you take cooldown reduction specifically for Flare Rush? Maybe not specifically for Flare Rush. You take it because cooldown reduction is just strong. It leads to better combos anyway. But you don't do it because of Flare Rush. I would say that if you're gonna run Flare Rush, make sure you're running make sure you're running effective combo pieces, and that should kind of go without saying. But I bring it up because there are some spells that are better standalone, and some spells that are just better combo pieces. All right, life kind of sucked there for a bit. Once again, we're seeing the problem with the elemental summoners, and that is that they can absolutely just halt whatever it is you're doing, just by putting out more things there that you have to deal with. Alright, we really need to find Anders and get ourselves a health potion. That one room just put everything into red alert. Fortunately, he wasn't too hard to find. Okay, none of these are really that effective. With the exception of, I can grab that with it because it'll synergize with Agni's Sparkler. And frankly, we could always use a good hunter stiletto setup. And we might come back to you depending on what's available. As much as I like the bubbles, I again openly admit that they are not as effective with retro floor plan active as without. What am I missing? What am I missing? Nothing. I'm just blind and silly. Alright, so do we take a chance with the bubbles? Frankly, I say yes. All right, because of the dangers of the setup that I have, I say we take that and then we branch out into a third element. Then we'll switch that up to the exploding fireball come time for Shu. Twin Turbines, of course, is a notoriously powerful arcana. Very, very good for keeping control of a battlefield. But also gets easily stopped by enemy projectiles. So sometimes the best time to use it is either right away in a fight or after you know that your enemies have already fired their shots so you don't get stopped by theirs. Alright, that's looking much better. We will definitely grab that. This actually works out quite nicely with the hunter stiletto like status effect artifacts. I was hoping that the fireball from Flare Rush would spread out far enough to hit him, but just outside of his range. So let's take a moment to stop and think. All of the fire-based arcana that fire off these kind of like small to mid-sized fireballs are really good. Tracer Barrage is really good. Flare Rush is really good. Fiery Yo-Yo is really good. It's like they specifically reserved some of the best arcana designs to use those small fireballs. And I don't know if there's any truth to that or not, but it's a fun thought experiment, isn't it? I'm dumb. So a little piece of advice that I can give for using Flare Rush and some of these kind of like longer cooldown time Dash Arcana in general is because it's such a good way to start off boss fights, like try to like if you can run this with a robe that gives you enhanced movement speed so that you can use this at the start of a fight. That way you get a good amount of hit stun time off of it and can use the rest of your standards just to combo. And that is oftentimes easier said than done. I'm openly aware of that. There we go. Another good one for the Hunter's Satchel. Oh, I was gonna switch up the exploding fireball. Okay. I'll still have a chance to do that. I just have to be creative about my timing. Or maybe I won't have to. Ooh, I love that one. I'm gonna hold on. Wait, do I hold on to Aqua Arc or do I just change? Especially considering who I'm going up against. You know what? I'm gonna change. No, I'm sticking with that. It's not gonna add additional shock, but it is going to control the battlefield a lot better. And I have to get used to the idea that I switched my basic. I so rarely switch my basic in the middle of a run. It feels weird. Especially going from one where I can just hold down the button to combo to one where I have to rapid press. Alright, so that learning curve is throwing off my groove. There you can see that Flare Rush actually covered me when the rogues teleported in to try their critical hit shenanigans. Try as you like, you're not going to backstab me, you bastards. Thank you. And I don't know how I feel about that, but thank you. Yeah, Flare Rush has so much in the way of useful application. And you get to be a little bit more aggressive with it than you can with Magma Rush. But of course, that's not without its downsides. We discussed those briefly, but go down already? Jeez. Get to cross the gap with a little bit of fireball cover there. Alright, well, we've definitely been in better positions, I won't lie. Might as well just grab them both. What the hell? Considering how badly we're getting beat up, screw it. Just give me everything. I don't know if I'm going to hold on to that. My guess is I won't, but hey. God, 525 damage. Yeah. This stage is one of those scenarios where the mooks in question are definitely more dangerous than the boss. And Juno and Summon may be fast, but their attacks are still so easily telegraphed. Flare Rush holding an enemy back for me. I love it. And then set up an aggressive dash to catch one of the archers off their game. Yeah, Flare Rush does a lot for you just by nature of the arc that those fireballs fly in. It's such an aggressive arc. It both attacks and protects. Kind of like one step from Eden's shield beam. It attack and protect. I will not pretend that I had a good idea there. You generally don't want to walk into an electric fence, much less whiz on it. And if any of you like me right now are going, God, whatever happened to Ren and Stimpy? I love that show. Trust me, there were things that happened to Ren and Stimpy that were not great. I'm namely talking about that one infamous cartoon that really didn't follow the idea of Ren and Stimpy at all, and it just felt so out of place. And this is even following along with the idea that Ren and Stimpy tended to go places that most cartoons didn't at the time. Okay, well, let's go ahead and drop that, pick up Nemo's leaf. was not the right spell, but it didn't matter. I didn't even need a spell there. Hey, you got anything I want? Actually, yes, you do. It's a little late to really be making use of the perfect time crystal, but I would rather have it than not. There we go. Okay, yeah, don't need that. And we're out of here. Alright, let's do this the right way this time. Owie. Owie. Alright, that was easy enough. Oh, and now they give me a good Earth-based spell. Gee, thanks. Oh my goodness, Flare Rush comboed with itself. It knocked the dude into itself. So if anyone asks you why I like Flare Rush so much, just show them the clip of Flare Rush comboing with itself there, and you can tell them that's why Darkseid likes Flare Rush so much. And frankly, these aren't going to be very useful anymore, so let's horsehead it up. Because I am a horse, of course, of course. And I don't know the rest of the lyrics about the famous Mr. Ed, so you're just gonna have to look that up on your own. I'm dumb. Ooh, yeah, Antiquated Tabi actually did something. Owie. Alright, this is not going well, and it's almost strictly because of the null shock agents. There we go. Alright, barely pulled that one off, but again, I still say it's because of the Null Shock agents. Him having mobs that he can just spam into the battlefield really makes things difficult. Alright, that got stressful at the end there, but hey, it was still a victory. And that means that we actually are on a 4-win streak. So far, we've won a match with every one of the Dash Arcana. So yeah, clearly these 4 are all viable in some way or another. Though I would say Searing Rush got carried by the rest of the run. But I can honestly say that the other 4 Fire Rushes managed to get the job done on their own accords. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So next up, we're going to be moving on to another element. I don't know which element that's going to be yet, and I could just roll a d4, but maybe it would be more fun to have you guys comment to me which element you want me to work with next. Do we do the wind dashes, the water dashes, the lightning dashes, or the earth dashes? I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say, so hit me up in the comments, let me know. As usual, I appreciate you guys continuing to support my work. It really means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and you guys have a wonderful day or night wherever you may be, and you take care of yourselves.